I just got paid today and I'm already broke. I'm a single mom living in New York City. I work 3 jobs and I bring home about $3,100 after taxes. Thank you, Uncle Sam. This morning was extremely depressing because the rent came in at $900 plus $400 out of nowhere. No upgrades, no warning, just costs went up. So let's budget what's left together. First, the bills that don't care how tired I am: rent, utilities, internet and phone, health and car insurance, subscriptions. Total $1,802. That's already over 60% of my income just to exist. Now the essentials, aka surviving: $300 on groceries, $60 for household stuff, $220 on the cat's food and litter, $140 for the Metro card, $50 for the babysitter when my grandma can't make it, and for hobbies and eating out. $0. Because when you're poor, fun is not part of the budget. And here's where it gets painful. My credit card minimum this month is $400. I'm putting $500 just to feel like I'm trying. Emergency fund gets $20, not much, but it's something. Total leftover $8 until next month. I track all this in my budget planner. It does the math so I can cry in peace and get ready for my next night shift. If you are struggling like me to manage your finance, this spreadsheet might help, and it's free right now. Just comment budget and I'll send you the link.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Profit Pulse, where we make money simple, smart, and stress-free. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful tools for financial control: budgeting sheets. Whether you're trying to get out of debt, save more, or just understand where your money's going, a good budgeting sheet can change everything. We'll walk through how to set one up, what categories to include, and how to use it to track your spending the smart way. Let's get your finances organized and working for you.
I use a paycheck by paycheck budgeting template that I actually made for myself in Google Sheets because I wanted it to be really simple and just like broken out categorically. I didn't want to see it all on one page. So here's a walkthrough of my budgeting template. The first tab in the template just explains where I get my money and then where I distribute my money and why. The next tab is the debt tab, which is where I keep track of like loan information and then credit card balances whenever I have them. For the credit card, always make sure to put the statement amount and the pending transactions because your total is actually those two things combined. The loan information doesn't have any calculations. Those are just for reference. We have totals over here. These are formulas, and then these are actually referenced in later tabs, which is why it's important to fill out this information if you have it. Next, we have the anticipated costs tab. This is where we just list all of the different charges that we have every single month. You can put in the charge date and try and keep track of when you pay those. I personally don't utilize that, but it can be useful for some people. And then I put the monthly amount over here, as well as I label them. Is it an extra charge or is this an essential charge? And then I can see how much of my monthly bills are from essentials and how much is from the extras. On the savings goal tab, we can use this to brainstorm what we want to save for. So for example, emergency fund or travel, I have X amount saved for this and I want to save these amounts. How many months do I want to take to save up for those things? 12 for the emergency fund, 2 for the travel fund, which means I need to set aside these amounts per month. It's only going to populate up here if these are marked as now, because this is the total. So like if I want to save for both of these at the same time, this is the total amount that I need to set aside every single month. So if I see that and I go, that's way too much, I either need to adjust the monthly set aside or I need to mark one of those goals as saving for later. Now we're at the income tab. So as you can see, I've listed where I got the money from, what date I get that money, and how much I'm going to get from those paychecks. For side income, I do need to utilize my tax field, so I just enter the percent that I need to set aside for taxes. For my biweekly paychecks, I can just leave that alone. And then the remaining money I can allocate to these other categories. For these, you physically type in what you want to put where, and then under discretionary, it'll tell you the remaining money you have left to put aside. So if you start splitting up your paycheck and you're like, how much of my paycheck do I have left? It'll tell you in the discretionary field. On top of all these rows, we see summaries. So anticipated cost, this one is meant to bring in the anticipated cost total, and then it subtracts the amount of money we've set aside. So we know when we're square on bills. For savings, it brings in our savings goal total, subtracts nothing because I like to overachieve, and that's fine with me. I like this visual. Current balance for credit cards will bring in our credit card total, and then loans will bring in our total as well. And for loans, you can actually choose if you want to see your payment total for the month or your overall loan balances. I personally have multiple savings accounts for my different sinking funds, and this is how I help myself understand where I'm going to put my money. On the left, I've entered the necessary information, just the amount, the date I got it, and what it's from. And then over here In remaining amount, we can see how much money has left to be allocated into these sinking funds. So the $755 I have yet to break up. So for example, if I put that I want to save $500 for my travel fund, that means I have $255 remaining. I don't know if you saw that. That was really quick. Now I'm going to put that remaining $255.06 into my emergency fund. You can absolutely make your own budget template just like I did in Google Sheets, or you can use mine. It is available in my Stan store. I have a bundle option if you want the full year spending tracker with my budget template, or you can just get the budget template all on its own.
This is my annual and monthly budget spreadsheet. This spreadsheet allows me to budget and plan my finances for the whole year. With it, I don't have to make copies of my monthly spreadsheet. Everything is conveniently entered in the same spreadsheet. Plus, it has the added bonus of having a dashboard that gives me an overview of my whole year.
Go get an Excel sheet open and let's make a budget together. Note, you guys, it's 9:03 right now. Let's see how long it takes. I'm doing this one-handed. Excel is so freaking smart. Okay, so we're going to do the 1st of the month and we're going to do the 15th of the month right here, okay? Get your spreadsheet. Do it with me, you guys. 1st and 15th. I'm going to do husband's pay. I'm just a small typer one-handed, okay? I mean, slow typer one-handed. Husband's pay, wife pay, total. Bam. I'm going to skip a line. Start writing out your bills. What kind of bills do you have that are due at the 1st of the month? Because sometimes they're due at the 1st, sometimes they're due at the 15th. So we got electric. I'm going to do my water. Maybe you have a little bit of debt, a type of debt payment you make, like college loans or something. Bam. This is it, okay? I'm just doing all the labeling right now. Total. I'm going to skip a couple lines just in case I need to add some another time. And I'm going to put how much do we have left over. Skip a couple lines. And this is how much is going to go into our joint account. And this is how much is going to go into our individual savings. My baby's pooping. You pooping? Now I'm going to do the same labeling on the other side. I say that we have different bills for the 15th. Gas, insurance, total down here. I should have just copied and pasted, but whatever. Now I'm going to start entering some information. How much does he usually get paid? How much do I usually get paid? Again, this is just going off of my old budget. A really simple, like 2-paycheck house. Now, electric changes every month. I always put the highest that it's been here, so that way I'll have a little bit left over into my account. I always over budget everything, okay? Okay, I've entered all my information. Now I'm gonna go in with all of my formulas. So I want this spot, I don't wanna just write in 6,000, because what happens if I change this? If I get paid a different amount, I want this to automatically update. So what I'm gonna do is equals, and there's a couple ways to do it, but I like to go sum. That's hard to do one-handed. Parenthesis. These two, right? I hold and I drag. And then now I'm going to finish parenthesis, enter. So now this says 6,000, but say that I get paid less this month for some reason. Say I only get paid 1,500. This is going to automatically update. Okay. I'm just going to highlight that because we know that it's a formula box. I'm going to do the same thing right here. Equals sum, parenthesis, and I'm going to, bam, go like that. And parenthesis, enter. Highlight, because this is a formula. So say that water this month is a different amount, 125. Look, this is going to change. That's going to change. So for leftover, I'm going to do equals this. I'm going to click up here, minus this. Bam. That's how much I have left over, 1205. Now out of this 1205, I want half of it to go into my savings account, right? So I'm going to put equals. I'm going to click on this box, and then I'm going to put divided by 2, enter, and this is going to automatically divide this by 2. So we have half of this going into here, and then the other 602, I want each of us to have a savings. So instead of this, let's go, just to make it easier for you to see, Sean's savings, Lee's savings. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to do this number, equals this number divided by 2, enter, and then I want this because I want him to have a savings and me to have the same savings, so I'm just going to do equals this one. So these are always going to be the same. All right, now over here, say that gas is 200 and insurance is 200. Now, I don't want to go in and do the formula again. I'm just going to click this and drag it and drag it over, and it's gonna bring the same formula over. It's gonna do this plus this equals this, and just because I dragged it over, this plus this now equals this. I don't know if that makes sense. But I'm gonna do the same thing here. Click on it and you drag it over. Bam. That's how much total we have, okay? 200 plus 200 equals 400. See how I did that? I'm gonna do the same thing here. It just copies the boxes. This minus this equals this. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna grab these, drag it. Oh, you guys can't even see. I'm gonna grab these, drag it over. Bam. Did you see my other ones? Let me see. But that's it. Look, here's my budget. And then you could go in and you can add your border, you could change the colors, whatever you want. But look, it's 9:13. This took 10 minutes to show you guys how to do. Hello? 9:13, okay? One-handed and explaining what to do. Now, I'm not gonna charge people to do this because I want to help people. And who knows, if this video does well, maybe it'll get me paid through the beta program. But if not, hopefully I help somebody. You guys have a good day. Let me know if you have any more questions. I'll make a whole playlist on this.
I made a Google spreadsheet to track how much you can afford to spend each day without going into debt. First, enter your income, let's say it's $4,000 per month. Next, enter your fixed expenses and how much they are. Our total is $3,000, so we have $1,000 left over to spend, or $33 per day. Now at the bottom, enter your daily expenses and how much they are. This section on the right will keep track if you're overspending. For example, if you spend $300 on Walmart, you'll go negative. Your goal is to stay positive at the end of each month. If you want a copy, the link's in my bio.
Let's get into this real budget that I helped somebody with recently. So she makes $4,200 per month, and she was broke at the end of every month, going negative in her bank accounts. She couldn't figure out what was going on. So I helped her get that together. By the way, these are the December budgeting worksheets that I just dropped into the Budget Club. So if you're already a member, go check those out and download them, and you can use them this month. If you're not a member yet, go check it out because we've got a lot of cool stuff going on in there, and we have a live call coming up at the end of December. Okay, so you see me here just writing down her staples, which are her fixed expenses. This is all of your bills with due dates, all of your debt payments, all your subscriptions, all of that. If it has a due date, it goes in this section. You want to write them all out and then total them up, and the total here is $27.65. Subtract that from your income to get the leftover, and then we're moving on to spending categories. This is your variable expenses. The most common are grocery and gas, but you need to include your spending habits here so you can actually stick to your budget. So you see that we are adding money for eating out so that she can eat fast food because that's important to her. This will allow her to stick to her budget while also hitting her goals. And then we have a buffer there too. We're going to total that out and get the leftover. Then we're going to add the staples and the spending totals and put them up here up top with the monthly income. And girl, I was rushing and wrote the wrong total here. It's supposed to be $3,750. Subtract that from your income to get your leftover. And in this case, we have $450. That leftover is what you're going to use to allocate out to your savings. So in this case, she's building her emergency fund. So we have $250 going to emergency fund and $200 going to retirement, because it is super important that you are saving for retirement as soon as possible. The point here is we want to have $0 left over because we're doing a zero-based budget. Every single dollar that you bring in needs to have a job. Don't get scared of the zero leftover. That's why we have a buffer in the spending categories just in case. What we did here is the monthly overview. So this is planning out your entire month with your income and all of your bills to see where you fall. This is basically the plan that you're going to follow all month to make sure that your money does what you want it to do. Ideally, you would do this before the start of a new month, along with a planning calendar where you plan out your paychecks versus your bills to see how everything falls. I hope that helps, and I have a couple of really exciting things coming up, so let me tell you really quick. The Budget Club is where you can find monthly budgeting sheets, monthly money challenges, and we have monthly live group calls. The next call is on December 30th, so come join and see what that's about. I also have a new live free training that I'm going to be doing. Like I said, live. I'm planning for December 27th, and the wait list is at the top of my page in that link. So go get on the wait list. I'll email you when it's time to sign up for the training. We'll also have like a live Q&A in there, and it's going to be really fun, so come hang out with me. I'm also doing a giveaway of Her Money Mastery Academy. I'm giving away 5 spots over the next 5 weeks. It starts on December 22nd is when I'll pick the first name. So to enter, go follow me here. The link to that is at the top of my page if you want it. And DM me the word giveaway on this platform, and I will send you the link to get into the giveaway. And like I said, I'll be picking 1 name per week for the next 5 weeks. We got a lot going on, but that's because I'm trying to help you get your shit together before the start of the new year, okay? So go enter all these things, and just remember, at the end of the day, you got this, friend.
We just got our paycheck. Like every month, my husband transferred $7,200 to our joint account and me $900. He works all week. I just work Thursday mornings. So we split based on our income to keep it fair. We start with fixed expenses, $2,400 for rent, water, gas, internet, insurance, and taxes. On subscriptions, we save $40 without HBO Max this this month, but keep the other essentials for a total of $3,400. Then the variable expenses, groceries, restaurants, beauty, shopping, gas, and our own outings, that adds up to $2,680. Next, debts. His car lease at $350 and mine at $550. If there's anything left, we send it all to my dear mom until we reach a zero-based budget. Now that our budget is set, I record every expense as it comes in and everything updates automatically. We know where every cent goes and we avoid money fights like 83% of couples. And yes, before you ask, this file is still free. Comment budget and I'll send you the link.
Update my budget spreadsheet, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use it too. You can find it in the link in my bio if you're curious. Here's the welcome page to my budget spreadsheet. You can also click here and always go back to the video tutorial explaining exactly how to do it. I want to walk you through how I personally use mine. So here is where you want to start. This is the setup tab, and you're going to put in all of your categories for your different sections: income, fixed bills, expenses, debts, and then savings and investments. You put them in here and then they will automatically flow over to the different months. So you only have to enter the sections once and then they'll be in every single other category that you need them to. I've set my budgeting template up where you actually are only going to enter numbers into the white spaces. You're not going to enter anything else. So over here, you can see that the only white column is the planned, and that's because these actual numbers come from your expense tracker down here. So you don't want to enter anything into the boxes that aren't pure white. So up here, this is all allocated for you with a formula. You only enter into the boxes that are white. And that goes for every single page. So on the year overview, as you can see, there are no boxes that are white, because these are going to be automatically allocated depending on the numbers you put in your months. Same with your category overview. All of these names and categories come from your setup page, and then these graphs automatically fill out with the numbers that you input as well. So today I bought $72 worth of groceries, so let's go down here and enter that into my expense tracker. When we go back up to the top here, you can see our groceries section has updated and we only have $105 left to spend if we want to stay within budget for that one. I'm going to go crazy and kind of show you like a fun number to show you how different this graph can look. So here's what the graph looks like now. I'm going to go down here and we're going to enter $1,000 into the my husband's lunch section. And then we're going to go back up here. And as you can see, look at how big that section ended up being. So this will automatically change, as well as this, when you enter numbers down here in the expense tracker. And this as well. See, this became a lot bigger. So we're gonna go down here and clear that out because that did not actually happen. And the thing is too, you don't actually have to enter the date or anything in the notes section. You only have to enter the money and then the drop down menu for the sections. And these all come from the status page as well. I also like really looking at the yearly overview. You can look and see how much total income you've made, how much you've spent on your fixed bills, how much you've spent on your expenses, how much you've saved every month. This is for your category overview. And as you can see, like the majority of our fixed bills is our mortgage right here. The majority of our expenses every month is groceries. That is the majority of where we spend our money. And then this other big slice is home and garden. And these little check boxes don't really do much other than like signal that, oh yeah, that has been paid. Click, click.
This is a tutorial on how to create your own budget spreadsheet. To begin, open your Google Sheet and add these headings. Under income, add all your income sources, and under expenses, add all your categories that you spend, e.g. food, makeup, etc. Then at the bottom, press plus to create a new sheet. Create these following headings. Under the income and expense log, write date, type, and amount, like so. Then select all of column B and go Format, Number, Date, and then select all of column D and go Format, Number, and select the currency you are using, for example, Australian dollar, and press Apply. Then repeat this for the expense log. Select column F, go Format, Number, Date, and then column H, Format, Number, Currency. Now this is the tricky part. Under the type cell, go Insert Drop Down. So press this little arrow and go drop down from Range and select the little grid icon. Then this will pop up. Go back to sheet 1 and highlight all your income sources like so. Then press OK. Then press Done. If you go back to sheet 2, it will look like this. Select and drop down to duplicate. Repeat for expenses. So go Insert, drop down from Arrange. Press the grid icon, go back to sheet 1. Highlight all your expense categories and press OK. Then press Done. Go back to sheet 2 and then you'll see your expenses. Select on the corner and drag down to duplicate. For this example, I've just started to fill in a few items so I can show you how to tally up all the numbers. Go back to sheet 1 and click on column F. Go Format, Number, and your currency. Repeat for column I. Format, Number, Currency. Copy this exact code into cell F3. Then click on the cell and drag down. The spreadsheet automatically calculates the rest. Now repeat for expenses by typing this in. Then click on the corner and drag down. The final step is to tally up all the totals overall. To tally the income, write this code. To tally the expense, write this code. To calculate savings, do income minus expenses, like this. And that's how you make your own budget spreadsheet. You can customize the colors, the fonts, etc. to make it your own. If you like a more complicated budget spreadsheet with monthly overviews, stay tuned for part 2. Or, if you'd like to purchase a pre-made template, you can find one on libbycreates.etsy.com, which are on sale now. Don't forget to save this TikTok so you can make these yourselves.
I have created what I would argue is the best budget spreadsheet for the regular day-to-day person, and this is the full breakdown of how it works and how to use it. It is linked in my bio if you want to get yourself a copy, but let's start off with running through exactly what's included in the spreadsheet. So essentially you get 4 main dashboards. You get monthly dashboards from January through to December, an annual dashboard, a net wealth dashboard, and a budget planner dashboard. When you get the budget spreadsheet, you automatically be taken to the Start Here tab, and it's really important that you start here before you go into any of the other tabs or dashboards. In the Start Here tab, you'll be prompted to populate all your different categories. So that's things like your income, bills and expenses, and it's really, really important that you populate them here first and not on any of the individual tabs, because the formulas work so that if you populate it here on the Start Here tab, it then trickles down to every other sheet of the spreadsheet. So I will really, really emphasize, put all your categories in the Start Here tab, and then they should trickle down everywhere. So once you've completed the Start Here tab, we can now have a look at the monthly dashboards. Starting off with the budgeting section. So all your categories should now have flowed on from your Start Here tab, and now you can go in and budget your different expenses and how much you think you're going to bring in that month. So just populate that in the budget columns. As you populate in your budget column, the left to budget figure will update, giving you an exact idea of how much you have left to budget. Once you have completed your budgeting section, then throughout the month you can use the transaction tracker. You can put in the date of the transaction, the category, so you know, was it your salary, was it savings to a certain account, or whatever the category is, and then the amount. And as you populate your transaction tracker, those figures will then automatically populate how much you have left to spend, and then also it'll automatically populate the actual columns. So essentially, you only populate the budget columns, and then the actual columns auto-populate based on the transactions you enter on the transaction tracker. Each monthly tab also gives you the option to select a start date and an end date, so you don't necessarily need to do it from the 1st to the 30th of each month. Now going on to the left-hand side of the monthly dashboards, you have your monthly goals, monthly notes, and reminders and monthly reflection. I would encourage you to populate these first before you do any numbers. There's also a little checkbox that says include rollover from last month. But if you tick the include rollover from last month, that means any money that you had in your left to spend bucket in the previous month will roll over into this new month. But if you don't want that to happen, you can just untick it, and each single month you can budget from a clean slate. Your annual dashboard is where you get to set your yearly goals, do your quarterly reflections, as well as see all your budget and actual spendings for the year at a bird's eye view. So with your annual dashboard section, you never ever need to actually populate the numbers yourself. The only thing that you need to populate on your annual dashboards is your goals and your reflections. All your categories should flow through from the Start Here tab, and all your numbers should flow through from the different monthly tabs where you'll be entering your budget and your expenses for each month. The next tab is the net wealth tab. This tab allows you to see what your current net wealth is, track it throughout the year, as well as set your net wealth goal goal and see how you're tracking against that. But this is the only tab that does not flow through from the Start Here tab, because this is a standalone tab, so you need to manually enter your categories here. So you can start off with populating all your different assets, same with your liabilities, and then throughout each month you can populate the figure that is relevant for that particular asset or liability. As you fill out the monthly figure, it should automatically populate the charts at the top here, and then it should also automatically populate this top net worth overview for you. So never populate figures in this top net worth overview section. This will automatically populate based on the figures that you put in on the bottom here. And then you can also set your net worth goal, and then throughout the year you can see, you know, how well you're tracking towards that goal. Last but not least, you have the budget planner dashboard. This is absolutely voluntary, but I recommend you use it because it is such a powerful tool. The purpose of this tool is to help you see if on a yearly basis you're running on a cash flow positive or cash flow negative position. So this is not something that you'd use, let's say, on a month-to-month basis, but maybe something that you set up at the start of the year or halfway through the year, just to see exactly how much do you earn in a year, how much are you capable of saving, and if you cut down on certain expenses, what would that translate to on an annual basis. Again, these categories will pull off from the Start Here tab. All you need to do is you put in the amount that you expect to bring in and then the frequencies. Once you've populated each and every single expense that you can possibly think will leave your bank account in the year, you can see what your surplus or what your shortfall is. This is really, really powerful because as you play around with different numbers, you can see, you know, if I cut down my Netflix bill, how much would that actually save me in a year? And then it also tells you how much you can feasibly save or invest. I think a lot of times we set goals that, you know, we want to save $50,000 in a year, but once you've actually put in all your expenses, you realize you don't actually even have $50,000 left. I have no idea what goes on with Google Sheets, but sometimes this chart overpopulates with the table. If it does that, just click on another tab and then go back to the budget planner tab, and then it should automatically fit back into the correct positioning. That is a full breakdown of what's included and how the Goal Getter budget spreadsheet works. If you have any questions, send me an email and I endeavor to reply as quickly as possible. But I hope you enjoy it. It is such a powerful tool. And with that being said, happy budgeting.
Here's how my paychecks break down as a nurse making $55.44 an hour and how I budget that income. I've been a nurse for almost 10 years and I work in a float pool, so I make a little bit more than regular staff. 80 of the hours on my check are regular pay. I don't start getting overtime until I hit 40 hours a week. So at $55.44 an hour, that comes out to about $44.35. Then I end up getting about 16 hours of overtime every pay period, and my overtime rate is time and a half, so $83.16 an hour, and that comes out to an additional $13.30 every 2 weeks. So regular and overtime pay together, my gross pay is about $57.65. And there's usually a little bit of opportunity for some incentive or bonus pay. And since I'm working overtime already, some of my shifts qualify for that extra pay, bringing my gross pay up to about $6,500 to $6,600 every 2 weeks. After taxes, insurance, and my 401k come out of my check, my net pay ends up being quite a bit less. Depending on how much bonus is on there and how much my 401k ends up being, because it's a percentage, my take home will be anywhere from $4,400 to $4,600 every 2 weeks. I got tired of being broke all the time, even making that much money, so back in July I started working a bunch of overtime and managed to save up $4,500. I also had almost $10,000 of credit card debt at that time because I was just wasting money and spending too much. Now we're at the end of November. I've got my credit card debt down to about $6,500 and have managed to save up almost $14,000.
And that's how you can use a budgeting sheet to make your money make sense. It's not about restriction, it's about direction. Every dollar gets a purpose, and that's how financial clarity begins. If this helped you, hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite budgeting tip, and subscribe to Profit Pulse for more smart money strategies every week. This is Profit Pulse. Stay smart, stay steady, stay profitable.